Hello everybody, my name is Rostislav, I'm with West State Lviv. We help international people find a new home in Lviv. And in this episode I'm going to share how I see Lviv, which is located in Western Ukraine, what's the situation like here, do we have enough food supply, and is it safe, should you come back, and I answer many more questions. So let's begin. I do remember first days since the invasion. It was scary time. We had huge flow of people domestically displaced because of the war. They were fleeing it because Russians were advancing. They throw lots of missiles, helicopters, tanks, and more military to us, and people just were trying to stay safe. Many left the country. We also thinking to leave it, but we stayed. We stayed in Lviv throughout the time, and I have a lot to share with you about this. I remember March. I hadn't seen Lviv being so overcrowded. Maybe in the day of the city or some high celebration like that, but there were some huge traffic jams and so on, and it was difficult time. But coming to the next topic, how safe it is in Lviv. Lviv is one of the first areas from Russia, which makes it relatively safe, even though we were concerned at the beginning of the war for the Belarusian front, would they attack us, but they don't seem so. So, which makes Lviv pretty safe, relatively safe, I must say. I previously described areas of Ukraine. It should show somewhere here. So there are the current front line. There are previously occupied areas, and there are safer central and western Ukraine. Lviv remains very close to Poland, around 70 kilometers from there, more or less, which helps significantly and turns Lviv into a humanitarian hub. So we do have many domestically displaced people who need help, and the local authority are working on this. Now is beginning of September and many children went to school, and I think schools are packed now because Lviv is again pretty safe. We have a huge demand of parents who send their children to universities or to schools, as Lviv has lots of universities, more than 120 schools. So everything is fine about this. Throughout the war, we have around 3 or 4 direct strikes aiming Lviv, and it was very strategic bombardment. And since you could find information in public media, I could say that oil depot was hit, as well as tank plant and some other. So it means that attacking Lviv was very strategic and wasn't mean to attack civilians. Even though there were some casualties among the people of Lviv, some cars were hit and so on. It's terrible, but it's much safer than in other areas of Ukraine. I can show you here, I think will be the map of Ukraine with some statistic information where you can look how many some air sirens were heard here, how long was it, how many strikes we had, and so on. So again, Lviv is relatively safe. We were not bombarded directly to the civilian areas, even though in central Ukraine it took place, and I cannot express how much strikes we have in eastern Ukraine. And I'm going to show throughout the video some views of the city, supermarkets. Um, we have full supermarkets with food, so everything is fine with this. We have restaurants who are operational. Pretty much everything is open in Lviv and city looks as usual. But if you look closer, you see people who are grieving, people who lost their son, people who are displaced and lost their home. You see some volunteers, foreign volunteers who came to help us. You see lots of men at arms. You see military trucks and many more. Basically, Lviv right now is a huge humanitarian hub that brings lots of provision throughout Ukraine, and we are pretty well supplied. I must also add that critical infrastructure is in place, so we have enough gas, we have enough water, electric, Wi-Fi we have too, so everything is fine. Dollar, Ukrainian hryvnia has dropped 30-35%. So before the war it was around 26-27 hryvnias for $1. Now you can find $1 for 40-41 hryvnia. So if you want to come to Ukraine, I think you should get some dollars with you, like cash in bills, so that you could exchange it and you could have lots of hryvnias that you can pay for services, because not everything has increased that much. Something increased, but not everything. And if you choose to withdraw cash from ATM, it would be a bit problematic, because ATM could deliver only hryvnias, only by the local exchange rate, state bank exchange rate, which is 36.57 is the actual exchange rate, and you lose around 12% as of now. So I advise that you bring dollars. Regarding prices to rent apartments, in dollars it remains more or less the same, but if you want to pay in hryvnias, it has increased to around 30% more or less, due to the exchange rate. And still we have many people who wish to stay in Lviv, as it's very safe. We have many humanitarian missions who have permanent base in Lviv, as well as UN and many more. So my best advice, if you want to help Ukraine, you could come here to Lviv, you could start from Lviv, you could get apartment here, you could invest in the local economy, you could go to restaurants, cafe. Prices are relatively cheap comparing to Europe, let's say. And if you bring dollars with you, you can exchange them to hryvnias, you will have a good rate, and you can spend, help Ukraine, and it would be very helpful for us, as we really need to have more foreign currency coming to Ukraine, so that the local economy could benefit from this, because we do have some issues in this. You could watch another video. I did some videos about real estate, price to buy in Ukraine, prices to rent in Ukraine. I did video about residency in Ukraine, what's the current situation. I'm going to make a few videos about real estate in Lviv, how much to rent, how much to buy, with some data. So stay tuned, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any new content. Hit the like button, share with friends, and so that we see that our content is interesting. Drop your question in the comments below, and glory to Ukraine. Bye.